What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to go and take a little bit of a look at some new Transformers cards that look really, really good. Plus more boats. Who doesn't want more boats in the Transformers trading card game? Personally, I would like more boats. Boats. Now, this was revealed by the lovely Pew over on Twitter. Apologies for the pronunciation. Not only a lovely dude, but also sent me a DM with high quality images of the cards because I asked him before when he done reveals and he thought it might be useful this time. That's the kind of person we want in these kind of communities, ladies and gentlemen. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When we all help each other, everybody wins. So go give him a follow, would ya? Lovely dude, very grateful. Autobot Nautica is one of these cards that excites me very much indeed. Now, we have got a boat, there's no help for boats, but it's alright, we can work around it. Starting off, we've got an 8-star body, which is not bad for a body, we don't have many that cheap. And in terms of stats, okay, they are a little bit lower than we might like. Health of 10 isn't great, defense of 1 isn't great, attack of 4 is okay, attack of 5 is quite nice. So we do like the attack on the body, outside of that we're not really loving the stats. However, in bot mode, when you defend, you may play an armor onto her. Now, when it says play an armor, in lieu of any other information, it means from your hand. So you do need to try and make sure you're drawing into enough of these upgrades, but it means you can play extra upgrades on. Now, one of my first thoughts, pretty much all the time to be honest, is let's go force field, guarantee you can only take 4 damage, so even with your moderately low health, for cost, you're still guaranteeing a free hit KO. That sounds alright to me. But we also need to realise at this stage that actually Autobot Nautica is a specialist. And okay, multi-mission gear got banned and that was a little bit sad, but we still got multi-tool. When you pop it on a specialist, you may play an upgrade. Downside is that's actually a weapon, and that's one of the really upsetting things about Autobot Nautica. Primed to be amazing with multi-mission gear, but we don't have multi-mission gear. Every time you defended, you would have been able to play multi-mission gear from your hand on your opponent's turn, which would have let you play an action and it would have got pretty nuts pretty quickly. Maybe that's another good reason why the card was banned. To be clear, right, multi-tool's still a great card, and we've also got Field Communicator as well. When you play it from your hand onto one of your Transformers, you get to just play the top card of your deck. This is awesome, but they're not armors, so you cannot play them onto her when you defend. This would have been so good with multi-mission gear. Hey-ho. But make no mistake about it, you can still play extra armors on here, and you can still have armor far more often than your opponent. Plus, let's say your opponent wants to play something like a Bashing Shield. Well, they play Bashing Shield to get rid of your armor. Then when you defend, you pop an armor on, at which point you're like, oh, come at me, bro. Oh, what? It's too late for you to play a Bashing Shield. Gut it. Basically means you can play an armor on when it's too late for your opponent to get rid of it. Ha! Going into alt mode, when you defend against a car, or a truck, or a tank, and you flip at least one blue icon, you get +1 defense until end of battle for each blue that you flipped. Let's be clear here. Obviously, this has to mean 1 extra blue. Otherwise, you would get 1 extra defense for every blue you flipped, just like every other character in the game. So essentially what it means is all of those blue icons count as double blues. It means if you're lucky enough to flip something like a handheld blaster, it doesn't count as +2 defense, it counts as +4 defense. Clearly, this is meant to be a defensive character. You've literally got a character that in one mode you play an extra armor, and in another mode, you get extra defense when flipping blue icons. This is not going to be some hyper-aggressive orange deck, at least I don't think so. This is made to be a little bit defensive, and that's alright. Some characters are meant to be a little bit more defensive. We've seen blue defensive decks doing very, very well at large tournaments. So, this is good. but it's not always. This is one of those cards you have to play correctly. You see, let's say we're against Optimus Prime. Either of the general Optimus Primes, they're both amazing. They're arguably the two best characters in the game at the moment. At least they're right up there. Well, what if your opponent's in bot mode? Then you're not defending against a truck. It does not say defending against a bot which has a truck mode or a truck. It says defending against a truck. So if either of these general Optimus Primes are in their alt mode, you get the bonus. Otherwise, you don't get the bonus. That's potentially upsetting. I mean, if you look at Galactic Optimus Prime, the Wave 4, you've got more attack in bot mode. You're going to try and attack in bot mode a bit. If we look at the Wave 3 General Optimus Prime, you've got 50% more attack in bot mode. You're going to try and be in bot mode, at least when you're attacking, a little bit more often. And that's the kind of awkward thing here. Your opponent can play around this by just literally going into bot mode. And once they're in bot mode, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, you don't get the bonus anymore. That's a bit upsetting. It is also only cars, trucks, and tanks, not planes and helicopters and boats and beasts and Dinobots and all of that. So it's not for every card. But there's nothing to stop you just being in bot mode. Remember, right? Or body mode. The stats here are the same, except you get +1 attack in body mode. So if you're not going against a car, truck, or tank, you might as well be in body mode, and then when you defend, you get to play in armor. You are a boat in alt mode, but as it stands at the moment, we've got no cards that specifically help out boats, and if there are any in Wave 5, they've yet to be revealed, so it doesn't really matter at this stage. You can just be in body mode. I'm not loving the alt mode skill because it's extremely specific, and it gives your opponent an easy out to try and avoid it. But it's still kind of fun and kind of unique. But in body mode, I do love the skill very much indeed. Plus, you're a specialist, which is always good. And at 8 stars for a body, you're really not paying a huge amount to get this out. Hey, speaking of extremely cheap characters, we finally found our first 1-star character. I believe it's the first 1-star character. Let me know if you disagree. Now, it is a head, which means it's not a traditional 1-star character. You cannot play this in any non-Titan Master deck. This has to be played as a head on a body. It cannot be played on its own. It gives you bold 1. No, it's not particularly amazing, but what did you expect? It's a 1-star character. This, and there's something great about this head, right? And what's great about this head is that this is there for those situations where you can only afford to spend 1 star on a head. There are going to be some decks where you've got a bunch of characters and then you've got a body and you're up at 24 stars. And you're thinking, well, hang on a second, what am I supposed to do here? Well, what you're supposed to do is play this card. No, it's not particularly amazing. It gives you bold 1. That's all it does. And bold 1 is not particularly great. I mean, one of the first cards we saw from Wave 5 was Flame Out, which gives you bold 2, but is also a 3-star head. Clearly, if you can afford to spend 3 stars on a head, you are far better off going for this. If you can't, he's here for you. And when we get into bot mode, right, don't get excited about bot mode. We're talking about a 1-star bot. You know it's not going to be worth anything getting excited about. Sorry. And one of the things that does make me a little bit sad here, and we talked about this with my reveal the other day, 1 health. The problem with look, all of these heads are weak, and I've said this in a bunch of videos. Do not expect your head to be out for more than 1 turn. Expect to get 1 bonus attack with a head, and that is it. And that's okay. But when they've got 1 health, your opponent can drop an armed hovercraft, or a zap, or a heavy landing. If they can do a single cheeky damage, they're going to get a straight 1-hit KO without attacking. And that's a problem. You've got 0 defense and 1 health, so trying to survive any attack would be aspirational at best. But you've got an attack of 2 and bold 1, so if you're playing it in an orange deck and you've got enough orange icons, you should be flipping 3 cards, maybe 5 if you flip a white. So you should be looking at about an attack of 4 at the minimum after you finish flipping cards. So that ain't too bad. It's not great. And you are a ranged character, so you can always use something like Armed Hovercraft yourself. It's not a good bot, but it's a 1-star bot. And it really is as simple as that. If you want a bold head, we've got a better option. We've got Flame Out. The only real reason to play this is I have got 1 star remaining, I can't afford Flame Out, etc. And you may end up in a situation where you go, you know what, I would rather play Parsec and 2-star cards like Mounted Missiles than I would Flame Out. And that's essentially the decision you're getting at here. There we go. That's its use. Tell you what though, I'm quite a fan of Autobot Nautica. The alt mode skill might be awkward, but the bot mode skill is delicious. Shout out to Pew for the reveal. Make sure you give him a follow over on Twitter. Lovely dude, great member of the community. Let's make sure we show him some love. And then let's make sure you tell me what you think about these cards. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Transformers and other games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.